Senator Borrello has been a New York State Senator since 2019. In his years as a senator, Senator Borrello has become well known as a staunch advocate for rural New Yorkers and a champion of agriculture, small business, and middle-class tax relief. Most recently, Senator Borrello, joined by Assemblymen Mike Lawler and Chris Tagg, represented by attorney Bobby Ann Cox, who is also here today, were victorious in a lawsuit against Hochul and the Department of Health's quarantine and isolations regulations. And I just have to say, that lawsuit was fought, and won here in this county, Cattaraugus County. Hallelujah. So, Senator Borrello.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for that great introduction. And again, how about getting a hand for Reese, you know? I mean, come on. There's a saying that all it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Well, here's one good woman that makes sure that's not going to happen here today, so thank you. So we're here today to talk about our loss of freedom. And over the past 2.5 years, how politicians figured out how easy it was to get people to conform, to get people living in fear, constant fear. There are a lot of well-informed people here. I want to thank you for being here. But how many of you know that we still are living in a state of emergency here in New York State? You know that? Yeah. Most New Yorkers don't know that. 19.5 million people, most of them don't realize that we are still in a state of emergency. And why is that? Hochul. Yeah, exactly. Because Kathy Hochul wants the same authority that her predecessor, King Andrew, had. To manipulate things. To manipulate all of you. This is not about protecting you. Okay? Benjamin Franklin said a lot of great things. One of the things he said was, those who would sacrifice essential liberty in exchange for temporary security end up with neither. And that is still the case today, more than 200 years later. That is the state that we are living in. That is the country that we are living in. But today we're here to celebrate a big victory. A victory over this authoritarian rule. The fact that our governor took cut and pasted Assembly Bill 416, which never went anywhere. It was an Assembly bill sponsored by Nick Perry that never had a single co-sponsor, that never had matching legislation in the New York State Senate, that never got onto an agenda for the Health Committee, because everybody in the New York State Legislature, except for Nick Perry apparently, until he finally withdrew the legislation, knew that this was horrible government overreach. The idea that any health department official, whether state, county, local, could walk up to your house and say, I believe your son was exposed to a long list of infectious diseases here, and we have to take him from your home. Well, when will I see my child again? We'll let you know. Well, where are you taking him? We'll let you know. People, that's the kind of thing that happens in China. Not in the United States of America, not even in New York State. And that's what that Hochul Department of Health regulation would do. It would allow anyone with a little bit of authority to take away your liberty with no due process and with no proof. No proof required. Now people, when we fought this battle, I want to point out someone who stood up when others would not, and did this out of her own pocket, and that's Bobby Ann Cox, who came all the way from Westchester County, and she's here today. We had dinner together last night, and she told me the story about how other attorneys said, don't do this, you're never going to win. Okay, you're never going to get a member of the legislature to sign on. Well, that was wrong. And this is never going to happen for you. And all of a sudden, she was right, and the rest of those assholes were wrong. But that's the problem, folks. They want us to believe that we can't win. They want us to believe that they can keep us down. They want us to believe that most New Yorkers would rather live under the thumb of an authoritarian government that really aren't that bright. Let me tell you something. One thing that has been frightening for me is I went from a county legislator to county executive in Chautauqua County to the state senate. And the higher you go up, it's really scary how stupid and out of touch these people really are. I'm telling you. It's like, seriously, it's like tossing the keys of my car to my 10-year-old nephew and say, good luck. They really are, they're out of touch. I mean, most of the members of the legislature right now, and Dave DiPietro, my good friend and another great patriot, thank you for being here today. It's good to have you. He and I will tell you that the majority of people in the state legislature right now went from being community activists and advocates to members of staff for an elected official to senators and assembly members. They've never had a real job in their lives. These are the people that write in legislation and passing legislation that Governor Hochul is signing that has made your lives miserable. Okay, I'm a business owner here. My wife and I own restaurants in Chautauqua County. And we employ about 200 people. I bear the scars every single day of doing business in New York State. I know what that's like. These people, they've never had a real job. They've never had to make a payroll. They've never signed the front of a check as opposed to the back of a check. Okay, that's the problem. And that's why they think all this is a good idea. That we should give the governor the authority to pull you out of your home. But our judge here in Cattaraugus County disagreed pretty strongly. In a 14-page decision, 14 pages, he outlined why this was unconstitutional, illegal, violation of due process, violation of the separation of powers, that the governor was trying to legislate through promulgating rules rather than legislation. All that was clearly spelled out thanks to all of our co-defendants, thanks to a brilliant argument by Bobby Ann Cox, thanks to people like Williamsville Mayor Deb Rogers, who's here, who actually spoke out and passed a resolution in the village of Williamsville saying, we will not stand for this. Brave people that stood up when other people said, don't do this. This is not good for you. That's the problem, folks. They want you to believe that you are in the minority when it comes to wanting your basic rights and freedoms. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that everybody likes this idea of having an authoritarian shithead government. And that we will just lay down for this. We're not going to lay down for this. Are we? No. Not even here in New York. Look around you, okay? I love this area. This is a beautiful place, and it's worth fighting for. I don't want to leave. They can leave. So look around, folks. Look at who's here and look at who's not here. Okay, look who doesn't have the really intestinal fortitude, I was going to use another word, intestinal fortitude to stand up and say this is wrong. I am no longer going to fight the fight on their terms, in their twisted, perverted version of reality. That's the problem. That's why we are where we are. Too many Republicans are just Democrat light. They're willing to say, we're going to argue their points and defend ourselves. No more defense. We're going on offense. God bless you all. Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you, sweetie. Okay, thank you, sweetie. Okay.